Hey, what is up? This is your daily stimulus check update information. It looks like a lot of states are going to be ending a lot of these programs, stimulus programs here coming up in the next couple of weeks. Looks like Biden has canceled $9 million of back debt, and I want to cover that. Also, there's a senator out there in Congress who's trying to get two $1,400 stimulus checks going out to everybody. And so those are a lot of the things that are happening right now. Again, a lot of these states are sending out stimulus checks. Every state received there was 350 billion total that went out to all the states. So every state received a portion of that $350 billion, and they're supposed to turn around and pay people in those states some type of stimulus. Now, right now, only about 10 states have stepped up and done anything about it. So we still have a lot more states to go. I think by the end of the year, they have to either spend that money or send it back to the federal government. I'm not really sure on the total details of that, but it looks like that might be the case. If that's the case, then they're going to be forced to turn around and pay stimulus out to the people in that area, which is going to be good news for a ton of people. Also, the monthly payments are still going out on a monthly basis, and looks like the Treasury is still sending out weekly payments to try to catch everybody up from their returns on 2020. So every week there's billions of dollars being sent out. There needs to be about 420 billion total that needs to go out to everybody. And I want to cover a lot of those details in the stimulus check information for you in this video. So the states that are going to be ending the unemployment benefits early are going to be these states right here. You got, Missouri, Iowa, Mississippi, and Alaska. All of these states right here on this list are going to be ending here pretty soon. So you want to take into consideration that the federal unemployment benefits are going to be running out on the 7th of September are going to be running out. And so a lot of these unemployment compensation plans that have been in place are going to be ending here on September 6th. So the $300 per week will be ending. Now, I've always seen that Congress rallies up and they figure out some type of new bill or package they're going to put together in order to get a new stimulus, benefits out the door. So I think over the course of the next couple of weeks, you're really going to see President Biden, you're going to see Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, all of them rally up to try to extend these unemployment benefits. They also want to try to get the child tax credit out to 2025. That would be a monthly payment coming in for everybody that does have children. So just be aware that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be, without. So like 7.5 million Americans are going to lose their payments, that $300 extra per week. To me, it's, I think it's great that happened during the pandemic, but it looks like they're trying to rally up this whole new Delta variant. They're going to try to rally that up. If they do that and they start to close down businesses again, then the federal government's going to have to step up and get some type of monthly payment going out to everybody. They can't just close down the economy and say, oh, well, figure it out. They got to say, hey, we're going to have to support you. I think that's what the government's trying to do right now. To me, the government should just let the whole businesses open up and not put restrictions on businesses. Let them thrive and flourish. That's where you get jobs. That's where you get people earning, their money. So the fourth stimulus check, it looks like, President Biden's open to it. It really comes down to not Biden. It comes down to Congress getting a stimulus package set up to where they can get more money out to everybody quickly. And that's something that Nancy Pelosi is going to have to create a bill. They're going to have to create this stimulus package, try to get it through the House of Representatives and over to the Senate. They could do it really quickly if they wanted to. If Nancy Pelosi and them wanted to create a stimulus bill, get more checks out on a monthly basis, they could do it quickly. In fact, a lot of the Republicans would actually vote for it if it was very targeted. So if it was just one stimulus that checks, okay, we're going to send out monthly payments to everybody who qualifies, the Republicans would jump on board. But the problem was the Democrats, they have all this other stuff that they include in these bills that Republicans don't like. And so it just crushes the ability to get these targeted stimulus checks moving forward. And it's something that they're going to have to just set up, get it voted on, and get more checks out to everybody if they want to get some type of reoccurring payment going out. Florida right now is also sending out a lot of stimulus checks from the money that they received. They're sending out $1,000 payments to educators. They're sending out payments to frontline workers. This is going to be EMT. There's going to be firefighters, police. All of them are going to be getting payments. A lot of these states are sending out checks to teachers and educators. I get it. They were affected by this, but there's so many other people that are affected by these lockdowns and these closures of businesses in these states. To me, it seems like they need to support everybody. I mean, California is the only state in the United States that is stepping up and sending out payments on a monthly basis or one-time basis in California. Now, the child tax credit, that's going to be going out on a monthly basis. This is something that is part of the American Rescue Plan. This is where the child tax credit is It's $300 for children under the age of 6, and then you have between 6 and 17 a $250 check. So that is a monthly payment going out on the 15th of every month, and that's multiplied by how many children you have. So if you do have a bunch of children, then you would be receiving times that amount that I just said earlier, and that's good news for a lot of people, families that do have children out there. If you did have a child in 2021, when you file your 2021 returns in 2022, then you're going to be getting a $1,400 check for that new baby. Plus, you would be added to the child tax credit, which to me looks like they're going to be adding this to the budget plan that Nancy Pelosi has set up. If you are trying to get this child tax credit, you can go to ID.me. It's a website, and you can sign up to get that portal. Now, inside the portal, it'll show you the payment schedule, it'll show you when it's going out, and it'll allow you to update your information for the child tax credit. Now, if you filed your returns and you added your information in there, if you add your bank account information in there, they already have your information, the Treasury does. All they'll do is just take that data and then send you out the check. If you need to update that information, I believe you're going to have to go through this ID.me account to see if you can update your information. But this is going to give you the monthly payment status of your child tax credit that's going out on a monthly basis. Looks like Biden canceled about $9 billion in student loan debt. This is something that during these campaign he wanted to cancel about up to $10,000 in student loan debt, which to me that seems pretty fair. You got some of the other Congress people like Elizabeth Warren, they want to eliminate all student debt. The only way they can do that is if they eliminate all student debt, and then going forward that nobody can get any student loans. You can't just eliminate all the debt and then going forward people getting more debt. Plus, all the people that did end up buying or paying off their student loans, what are they going to get? I mean, they're going to be out. I mean, I guess they have the education, but it's just I think it's unfair for the people that are in debt for that versus those that did end up paying off the debt. But it looks like there was an ITT Technical Institute. If you did have a loan with them, they're going to be canceling that loan, and you don't have to pay that anymore. So we'll have to see if he can get some type of program in the future of canceling the debt. You know, that was one of his big things that Biden had during his campaign, that he was going to say, hey, we're going to cancel the debt. When he got, it seems like he is not in favor of that anymore.
0.5 million Americans are expected to lose unemployment benefits by Labor Day. The $300 weekly payments are expected to expire September 6th. Of the $6 trillion that the U.S. government has put towards stimulus packages since the start, $567 billion have been paid out in unemployment. According to the last jobs report, the unemployment rate fell to 5.4% in July with the creation of 4 million jobs.
Back to the Supreme Court now. The conservative majority has blocked the Biden administration's temporary ban on evictions. Weijia Jiang is here now to break this ruling down for us. Weijia, good morning. Is this a blow for the president at the hands of the high court?
I mean, you may remember that President Biden was not going to try to implement any additional measure to help people who were struggling to pay the rent, because he said, despite trying, despite the CDC looking for a legal path forward, there simply wasn't one. But there was mounting pressure from progressive lawmakers. You might remember Cori Bush, who was literally camped out on the steps of the Capitol because she was urging the administration to act. And, you know, at the end of the day, he said, I'm going to give this a shot, even though he acknowledged it was likely not going to pass constitutional muster. But the one thing that may have done is give some local and state jurisdictions more time to distribute funds that Congress had already approved. But it doesn't seem like they did that much with the time, quite frankly, because just yesterday we heard from the Treasury Department that only about $5.1 billion of the $46 billion already approved by Congress for rental assistance has gone out through the end of July. And so that's precisely what the administration, what President Biden will focus on now, is trying to get that money through, since it's just sitting there.
Sure. Well, first, President Biden would, of course, support congressional action to authorize an eviction moratorium, and the Supreme Court has now clearly outlined that as the sole way a moratorium could remain in effect. Now, at the same time, I think it's important to remember what our objective is here. Our objective is to keep as many people around the country in their homes as possible. Federal legislation is one way to do that. Obviously, the eviction moratorium we have had in place and we've been issuing month to month is one way to do that. But the ERA funding that came through the American Rescue Plan and is going out to states is another way to do that. And we have asked, and we have put out today, the Department of Treasury and the Secretary of HUD sent a letter calling on all governors, mayors, county officials to put in place their own moratoria. There are 7 states across the country who have done that. It has the same impact, right? Because it is preventing people from being kicked out of their homes, and these states have the funding, thanks to the American Rescue Plan, to get that done.
So since Congress is really the only people that can create these bills and get more stimulus out, a couple of lawmakers are actually proposing to President Biden that in his proposed corporate rate tax hike of 28%, they want to get this 28% corporate tax rate hike up. And if they do that, they can collect about $800 billion in taxes. He said that's enough money for the government to finance 2 more $1,400 stimulus checks, similar to the ones Americans received in the $1.9 trillion Biden stimulus law. This is, something that government Democrats, they love to go out there and just tax anybody they can, take that money and then redistribute it. I think it's unfair for the businesses. It's going to be tough on the businesses. Most of these businesses, they're just going to look at this and say, you know what, we're just going to move to a different country that has a better tax rate. And I know that they're trying to even take that away, but that's what happens in the world that we're at. It's competitive versus competitive, and it's good. It's good for competitiveness because it allows companies and businesses to create a better value, create better products. But if they get this 28% corporate tax right, they may take that money, $800 billion, and do 2 stimulus checks. But that's something that they're going to have to get. Again, they're going to have to get Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. They're going to have to get them excited about it in order for them to create the bills for this to get passed. So if you haven't seen already, a lot of these states are sending out stimulus checks. Texas, a lot of the cities inside of Texas are sending out checks. In fact, one of the big ones was Irvine, $2,000 payments given out to people in the classroom, try to get them incentivized to go back to school. Tennessee, $1,000 payments to educators. New York, $2.1 billion to undocumented workers. Michigan, $500 pay to teachers. Georgia, $1,000 part-time teachers, or $1,000 to teachers, and in part-time get $500. To me, I don't understand why these states are sending out directly to teachers. I get it. You're a teacher. You were part of you were affected by it. But there were so many other people that were affected in these lockdowns and all that every state should be sending out stimulus checks. I mean, I wish I could get together with all the governors and say, hey guys, just send out stimulus checks to people. You have the money. It's sitting in your treasury. Just send it out. So Florida, they're going to be doing a little bit differently. They're going to be sending out $1,000 checks to administrators and teachers, but also frontline workers. That's going to be that $1,000 to police, firemen, EMTs. It looks like New Mexico is going to be sending out about $750 checks to a lot of people in that state. Maryland also is going to be sending out $500 to families, $300 to individuals. And then you have Colorado, $375 checks are going to be sending out in that state. Again, California is the only state right now that is sending out stimulus checks, $600 stimulus checks to those in that state. I think they're doing the right thing. They collected a ton of money from the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve gave California probably $30 billion. They're taking a lot of that and they're sending it back to the people in that state. Every governor in every state should look at California and see what they're doing and turn around and do the same thing. I wish they would. But again, I'm not the governors and I don't have control over it. But that's just where the stimulus checks are going out right now in these different states. So if you have any questions on stimulus, drop them in the comments below. This is your daily stimulus check. Update information for today. Update information for today. Update information.